this is kind of tied in here, because I imagine there's a lot of education that has to happen along the way for people to understand, uh, you know, how to operate in this way. And so you're one of the ideas you want to share is just the importance of continuous learning and development, which again, I want to point out is, we're not talking about some office job here for a lot of your people. A lot of your people are on their feet. They're in restaurants. They might have only, maybe 10 minutes in a pre-shift huddle outside of their day-to-day responsibilities in a restaurant. But you're saying like, even despite that, that there has to be continuous learning and development for people. So can you maybe, I mean, I don't think there's too many people that, I don't know. I guess there probably could be, just judge by my view of how many people are actually doing it. There could be some people that dispute whether continuous learning and development is important. So maybe we will start there. Like, what's your take? You're a growth company. You're trying to grow fast. Profit is extremely important to you, and yet you're saying continuous learning and development is really important, which is long-term thinking, right? So can you maybe share how you think through that and why those things don't have to necessarily be uh, counter to each other? You
Yeah.
can be profitable and invest time and resources in continuous learning and development.
Yeah, I mean, so so to me, at its basic core, a company has to, and leaders have to provide tools for their people to, learn skills training, right? If you're going to work in a restaurant, there are certain skills you have to learn how to run the register. There's basic skills training.
Right. The necessities.
There,
Yeah.
yeah, there's the necessities, but there's also we have this set of shared values. We model these values. We honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, we hire a lot of entry level people. When I say entry level, meaning they're young, they're
Right.
young. Sometimes six. There's not been any lessons at school, or there's not been any lessons at home about. Let's talk about our values. Let's talk about what values we're all going to share. You may have way more values than this, but these values we share, and if you're going to work here, you're going to be part of this system. And so you're teaching people how to be a better human being sometimes,
Right.
how to treat others with respect. You're also teaching them like it's okay to be inventive. We haven't solved, everything. So if you have an idea that you think is better or a shortcut that you think is better, and be inventive is really important to us as well. And so, and being passionate, it doesn't matter what job you're in, whether you're, serving food, or you're working even in the kitchen, or you're out doing something, more manual outside the store, like cutting grass, whatever. Just be really passionate about what you're doing, and you're going to go really, really far, and you're going to be much happier every day going to work. And so there has to be these opportunities, but this values that I talk about is almost like you're learning other, besides knife cutting skills, for example, or time and temperature controls. Those are things that you have to learn to be, hand washing and food safety things. You have to learn that to be in the restaurant business. But you know just being in the restaurant business doesn't mean that you learn how to be inventive or passionate or fulfilled, or just learn how to treat people with respect. Those things are, we teach you that as well, right? We could just put you in a kitchen and say, here's a knife, here's your knife cutting skills, and just sit there and cut things all day long. Or in one of our restaurants, you just basically cut up tomatoes and make salsa all day. That's your only job. No, we want to teach you all these other things as well. And so it's and I think that if you have the right culture and the right set of values that you're talking about all the time, that um, people who've been maybe around longer and have seen how having these shared values has helped them either set better goals or accomplish something, they can share that with some of the newer people or younger people. And so there's this whole culture of mentorship. People call others and ask them to be their mentors, and some people will just say, I'm going to be mentors, and then sometimes it just happens organically, right? And so and I always have gone back to, I can honestly say I don't know that anyone's really ever trained me that well. And so I think there's some personal responsibility in training yourself. And simply, it's as simple as this: just ask questions. And if you are in a business, I don't care what business it is, and you're in a culture where people are allowed to ask questions and give feedback, then you can train yourself on anything, right? Just asking enough questions, going and researching it, doing a little bit of reading, you'll eventually learn the current way to do things in the
I, l-
business.
I
Yeah,
love it. So you're pointing to this simple truth that it's not, obviously I'm sure you have development programs that are in place, right? And things that you're going to do, but even more importantly is you've created this culture where continuous learning is part of the culture,
right.
where curiosity, inventiveness, asking questions, and a space where people feel safe to do that. So learning is always happening, whether it's formally, informally with a mentor, formally with a mentor, informally on your own, just becomes your own curiosity. Is that what you're pointing to? Is just like
Yeah, that's
the power
exactly
of
right.
building like a learning culture?
Absolutely. And it's like there's basic things you have to do. Like you have to learn food safety. You have to, you have to learn if you're going to handle knives, you have to learn that there are training videos and computer-based learning modules for you to, take tests and do things like that. And you can, get recognized even as specialists in certain things. But at the end of the day, you don't want to just check boxes. You want to develop yourself. You want to become a better person, a better team member, a better leader. You don't have to have people reporting to you to be a great leader either. And it's so, but you ultimately you create this a growth culture and a growth company if you allow people to, you give them the great tools, but you allow them to learn beyond what their job is, because sometimes the jobs are small, and you learn beyond that, you can actually get a bigger job with more responsibility if that's what you want. And so, but again, it goes back to, I think you have to have a culture where people, where it's really an inviting place to want to learn more, and people have to take that personal responsibility to ask questions and learn, because and also that people may assume right? It's like, well, you've been in this job, Matt, for a while. You should know there's certain things you should know. And if you don't, then there's nothing that's more frustrating for a leader, for someone to come back and say, well, no one ever trained me on that. It's like, well, did you think you need to be trained on that? Yeah. Well, did you ever ask anybody? It's like, take some responsibility, you know.
Right.
Maybe they assumed you knew that, so whatever that is. So.